If I had to start trading all over again in 2026, knowing what I know now, I'd do things completely differently. And so in this video, I'm going to give you 2 steps that will essentially make you understand what you need to do, what you're looking for, and a few do's and don'ts. So to give you a little bit of background, when I started back in 2017, I was essentially clueless. I wanted to make extra money, but I was working at Bank of America studying for mechanical engineering and thought there has to be another way to make extra income. And this is exactly when I found trading. I had no idea what I was walking into. So growing up in Syria, I always had heard about my uncle, a successful trader in the US, but anytime my dad had mentioned him, it always came with a warning. So my dad would always tell me, I lost tens of thousands of dollars, trading is dangerous, don't ever get into it. So essentially, I grew up thinking that trading was gambling. Now, fast forward when I actually moved back to the US and started working in the bank, I got introduced to the 401k, which is essentially just an investment account for retirement. But here's the problem. I was in my early 20s. I did not want to wait until retirement, and I wanted money now. So I actually talked to my financial advisor at the branch and started watching YouTube videos and just really got hooked. So I actually ran straight to my uncle, excited like a little kid, thinking that he would teach me. But when I asked him, he told me, focus on your current job, focus on your degree. Trading is when you actually have disposable income. And to be honest with you, that really crushed me. I thought he was going to help me out, but he was trying to essentially protect me. But I did not know what he was trying to protect me from. But that really lit a fire inside of me. So I told myself, if no one's going to teach me, I will have to figure it out by myself. And really this is something that you can absolutely do, but it takes a lot of trial, error, risk, losing your money, losing your sleep. I started like most beginners, watching the gurus online, thinking I can flip $500 into $5,000 overnight. But essentially, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I actually blew up my account. I lost sleep. I lost confidence. I basically was on the verge of giving up. But I kept on learning. And if I had to start again today, here's exactly what I would do. So number 1 is you need to understand your why. So before you ever place a trade, ask yourself, why do I want to trade? So is it because I saw someone else's results and thought that looks easy? Is it because you want to escape to your 9 to 5? Or is it because you're broke and need money fast, right? None of these are the wrong reasons. But if you don't know why you are doing this, you won't know what you're working towards. Your why gives you your direction. So without it, you'll actually just chase signals, strategies, and indicators and burn out fast, essentially. So you really need to understand your why. Why do you want to start trading? What is the goal? What is it going to do for you, right? And based on that, you'll be able to set up your plan. So something that you can work towards, achievable, results, achievable goals and steps. So step number 2, you have to understand what trading really requires. So this is not about, strategies. It's not about indicators, it's not about charts. Trading isn't just about that. It's about patience, emotional control, and most importantly, consistency and discipline, right? These are learnable skills, but they do take time. So if you're watching this thinking that maybe this isn't for me, don't panic, okay? You don't need to be special. You just need to understand what you're signing up for and have a plan to grow into it. So let's go ahead and start talking about the do's and don'ts. The mistakes I made early on is, number 1, you can't think that trading is a get rich quick ticket. You can make a lot of money fast, but keeping it, that's the real skill, right? Real growth takes months and sometimes years. But that also does not mean that you can't make life-changing money along the way. $10,000 a month from trading, that's life-changing, but that's not wealth. That's not you becoming rich. So don't confuse the two. Number 2 is, don't think that the more you learn, the more you will earn. I made this mistake myself. Studying 10 different indicators, 5 different strategies, dozens of YouTube videos and YouTubers. Eventually, what happened is that 2 strategies contradicted each other and I was more confused than ever. So you have to keep it simple. Learn a strategy, one strategy, and master it. Keep it simple. The real growth happens when you develop personal skills like discipline, consistency, emotional control, not when you add more lines to your chart, essentially. Number 3, so don't depend on others for trade ideas. I cannot tell you how many times people ask me, like, what trade should I take? What stock should I buy? And all of that. And my answer is always, it really depends. It really depends on, how long you can keep the money into the stock, how much money do you have, how much money you're trying to make, when do you want the money back? Is it really extra money, or are you playing with your rent money, right? So don't ever depend on other people's ideas. Learn to make your own decisions. Just because someone is successful does not mean that their strategy will actually fit you. They have different goals, emotions, and risk tolerance. So by the time they post a signal or send it to you, the market has already changed. So you need to learn how to think for yourself and make decisions and stick by them. So those basically are the most important do not do type situation. Now, the things that I would do over and over and over again is ask successful traders about their mistakes, not just their wins. Learn what not to do. So after I actually got into trading, I would go back to my uncle and tell him, like, well, tell me about your biggest mistake. Tell me about the time where you lost a lot of money. What did you do? What was the reason? How did you recover? Things like that. So don't always ask about the winning trade, but rather also find out what their mistakes were and how you can avoid them. Pick one simple strategy. I already kind of talked about this earlier on the video, but I cannot stress enough how important it is to keep things simple. You do not need 10 or 15 different indicators or lines or charts. Honestly, if you look at my setup right now, I have a bunch of different monitors. But at the end of the day, now that I've been trading for 8-9 years, I just trade from my phone. So the point is, the more you add, the more things that you're going to add to your strategy, to your execution, is going to make you get even more confused and make more mistakes and really not being able to pinpoint what went wrong, because you are doing so many different things at one time and you really don't know why you're doing these things. And number 3, and this is going to be the most important one, is you really need to be able to track your trades. Every trade is feedback. Every loss teaches you something if you're actually paying attention. And that's why I was talking about keeping things simple. If you don't keep things simple, then it is going to be so much harder to keep track of what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to. So remember, consistency beats perfection every single time. And if I had to start trading all over again in 2026, I wouldn't look for shortcuts. I'd focus on understanding myself first. Because once you master yourself and your emotion and your consistency and your discipline, the market becomes a reflection of your own discipline. So thanks for watching. And if you want me to make a video on how my first year actually went, then go ahead and comment first year down below. Thanks for watching.